This segment is a continuation of some previous videos where I was doing a review of some of the work done by the City of Austin Monument Team, something they're trying to develop and the taxpayers are expected to pay for. Monuments are the private properties of the families, but in some cases, monuments become unsettled, shift, move, and create a problem for the public and for the maintenance team. So let's look at this one here. This is for Harvey J. Pittman. This is Austin Memorial Park, Section 9, Lot 17, space number 2. What caught my eye was they said the dimensions of this monument are 48 inches by 10 inches. That's just not true. Here's a picture of what that monument looks like. Harvey J. Pittman is a 12 by 24. You can see that I went out there and bought a ruler, and that's 12. There's another 12. That's 24. And this is the width of it here. So it's a 12 by 24, very common. When you look here on the top, you'll note that the top of the monument here has been chipped, most likely by a lawnmower. You see the striations here and here. These are all caused by a lawnmower. This thing got pushed down in the ground on this side. This side became high. Lawnmower struck it, and the city staff wanted to reset this monument. So as you can see, it's not 48 inches by 10. It's a 12 by 24, as we call it, 1 by 2. The other thing that caught my attention was it took 4 men, 8.5 hours to set this one monument. It was inspected by a supervisor, and I called that into question, and the city said, oh no, everything is fine, and, you know, here's the work that was done. Photos, people who took them, and re-leveled the monument. This was the monument here before it got leveled, and just as I described, you can see the marks here, where it was struck by the lawnmower, and the chips out of it here, and there's chips out on this side. This part was down low. This is when I looked at it, you can see that it is level and flat. You can still see the old damage here. But this is the before photo. And I questioned that, so they went back and they looked at it and did another work order, and please inspect the monument location and foundation for the rules compliance. Conduct an inspection to check and see. They said they inspected the monument for rules compliance. The monument foundation is approximately 5 inches thick. Monument is set flush, less than 2 inches above ground level. And so I'm going to run you through these photographs here real quick. This is the monument here. You can see that from the top of the sand here up to here, it's about 2 inches thick. This photograph here, it's kind of hard to tell. I'm sure they're using their camera phone, or phone camera. And you can see that they have about 6 inches here. Hard to tell what this is. It's just a very poor photo. Here they zoom in, and this appears to be the top of the monument. This might be concrete here. You can see the scraping on it, and you can see something there. So when he says it's about 5 inches in this particular angle, that makes sense. When you look at this picture here, and you zoom in, you see the profile hole they dug was very small. You can clearly see here, here's the edge of concrete right in here. And so it already doesn't meet the specs according to the policy. Here is a photo here, taken by city staff, and this tells the whole story here. Here's 5 inches. Here's the bottom of the tape measure. You can see the concrete right here, the white area. This is obviously dirt here. You can see the grass growing out of it, and there's dirt over here on this side. What's clear is this is not 6 inches of concrete. This is more like 2.5 or 3 inches of concrete right in here. While it might be 5 inches down here, it's not consistent with the policy. This is what the operations policy says for setting this type of monument. The monument base should be 6 inches in height. It should be on 2 inches of a sub base. It should be 1 inches on all the outside edges of the monument being set. Foundation pad must have perpendicular sides with a flat top and bottom. Foundation pad must be 6 inches thick. Top of foundation must be 1 to 2 inches below the grade level. If granite or marble, entire excavation depth should be 10 inches, 6 plus 2 plus 2. This isn't 6 inches thick. The sides are not perpendicular. It appears, just like Mr. Fuster's monument, that somebody dug a shallow hole, put in some concrete, wedged the monument on top, got it level, and walked away. They didn't follow policy. What's clear to me, what should be clear to the members of the Parks Advisory Board and the management at the Parks Department, is that there's only 2 reasons why somebody wouldn't follow the policy. Now, the policy is very clearly laid out. It couldn't be any more clear than this. Either the employees have never been formally instructed on the policy, they've never had training where somebody goes out, digs a hole, forms it in, sets some sub-base, pours the concrete, and then properly sets the monument. Or they have had the training and they chose not to follow their training. Now, this one here was not paid for by the family. The family initially paid for a setting, and over time, monuments do need to be reset. The taxpayers paid for this. What was the cost to the taxpayers? The cost to the taxpayers for this was $137.50. Here's a list provided by the cemetery staff of what people's hourly wages are. These here are estimates. I know we had some part-time employees here working, maybe some temporaries. I listed their names, $137.50. Now, it didn't show Isabella's Knuckles, who is the person who was in charge of this program, who initially wrote up the work order. Didn't show her salary. So we know it's at least $137. It could be close to $150, $175 by the time you factor in all of the paperwork that needed to be done. It's very clear that we need better training, transparency, and accountability within this division. We're having problems getting our cemeteries mowed and maintained at the level of which the old contractor used to do. And yet, we're stretching ourselves thin and creating new jobs for new people, and these people don't have the proper training, or they're choosing not to follow the policy.